Alright, what is up, guys? It is Krod here. I'm back with another good video for tonight. I wanted to make this video to talk about, I guess, what? We're gonna probably talk about, Errol Spence versus Canelo Alvarez. This is a very possible fight that could be made, for the future. If negotiations are possibly there. But for those of you that don't know, Canelo and Errol Spence have been talked about recently in multiple discussions, and I believe Canelo did say, I think a couple weeks back, to say that he is interested of the idea of fighting Errol Spence Jr. after Danny Garcia, which I think, honestly, Terrence Crawford would be a very difficult fight to make, and it just seems like Terrence Crawford, he's not going to make any moves to try to, try to push for the Errol Spence fight. He's just going to keep making, excuses to say that, Errol Spence is not the type of fighter that he wants to solidify his legacy. And I think, Terrence Crawford is making a huge, he's making a huge mistake for not trying to just play by Errol Spence's game to try to get the fight made for him and, Errol Spence. And like I said, and like my last video about Crawford, trying to complain over a 60-40 split in his favor, that's just something that Crawford is being very, egotistical, but he's not thinking. He's not understanding the economics of his accomplishments versus Errol Spence's accomplishments not being solidified for his career. And it just seems that Terrence Crawford is making so many excuses not to take this deal, which, honestly, let's just do the math right now. But let's just say if tickets were sold for $60, or no, I'll probably go with $75. $75 for, let's just say, well, I don't know, what's the capacity for the Dallas Cowboys theater, but Dallas Cowboys stadium capacity. Give me 1 second. I apologize. All right, there's about 80,000 that holds the AT&T Stadium, or that's where the Dallas Cowboys, I guess football stadium is played down in Arlington, Texas. If that were to be sold for at least 20,000 people, because due to COVID, that's going to have to be limited to at least 20,000 people, or I'll probably go with 20,000 people. So $75 times 20,000, or actually no. I'm basically using those numbers for the Danny Garcia fight, for Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. But let's just say if Terrence Crawford were to fight Errol Spence at the same location in Texas, the revenue for at least 20,000 people at the gate is $1.5 million. But if you were to sell pay-per-view for at least, let's just say $85, and then let's just say let the pay-per-view buys go $500,000. Hold on, give me 1 second. I apologize. $500,000. That's going to come out to $42,500,000. So I think either way, it's Terrence Crawford, he's not losing out on any money. But then again, I guess if you kind of think about it, yeah, I understand what Terrence Crawford is talking about. He's not going to get that much money out of fighting Errol Spence if he's going to take 60%, which if you just multiply 60%, that's about $25 million at least to Errol Spence. But if let's just say, yeah, $25,500,000 for Errol Spence. So $42,500,000 minus 25,500,000. Sorry. Yeah, 25,500,000. Yeah, Terrence Crawford would get at least 17 million for the fight. Like, which I mean, like, he's still getting a crap load more money. This is just like this is just like a rough estimate of what could be made at a fight, even though that it's not at full maximum capacity at the stadium. And then on pay-per-view, that would definitely make a lot of numbers because people would probably be selling out, the pay-per-view for, let the fight itself. But, if you compare it to like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury's first fight, which, hold on, let me look at that. Costs for Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury pay-per-view. I'm pretty sure the pay-per-view costed at least maybe $75. Yeah, $79.99. That was for the first, or that was for the second fight. Yeah, $79.99. So that was like about $80 for the pay-per-view. So $79.99 times a million. That's about $79,990,000. So either way, it's like Terrence Crawford and an Errol Spence could definitely break those numbers if they were to just fight this out and try to see how much revenue would still be built anyway. I mean, Terrence Crawford would still get a massive payday out of this fight regardless, but I think Errol Spence is making a lot of big moves, even if he doesn't take the Terrence Crawford fight. So I think Canelo would be a good matchup between him and Canelo. And Terrence Crawford would be making a very bad decision not trying to take the fight with Errol and at least try to see where the money lies. And if he beats Errol, he's going to get more money anyway. So, it shouldn't really matter to begin with. But either or, it's just that, Terrence Crawford, isn't helping himself out, and he's making things a lot more difficult to make it, easier on his behalf. But then on top of that, if you can't beat him, then just leave him. But yeah, I just want to talk about Errol Spence versus Canelo Alvarez. How would this fight play out if it were to be realistic? Errol Spence is going to move. Yeah, he's going to move 2 weight divisions just to face Canelo. And I think this would be a good fight because Errol Spence, he could definitely move up to middleweight. He could definitely give Canelo a huge challenge. But you have to really factor into the size differentials, punching power, everything that you could see at a stylistic level. And I think stylistically, Errol Spence would give Canelo a very good fight, but I don't think Canelo has ever dealt with a power puncher like Errol, but he's slick. So I think Errol would definitely give Canelo a lot of issues, and I don't think Canelo would want to deal with Errol's, tenacity and his pressure, because he's like Floyd Mayweather in a way. He likes to walk you down. He likes to make you feel afraid of him, and he's a huge body puncher too. So he really makes things a lot more difficult, more on the inside rather than on the outside. But either way, it's just like, it just makes perfect sense of like what Errol Spence does in the ring. And Canelo, he's not going to have that answer. But don't get it twisted. Canelo, he can punch. He could really make you think in the ring. But his slickness is never at the level of what you can see out of Errol Spence or Jamal Charlo, Erickson Lubin, or Jermell Charlo, or Julian Williams, or I mean shit, even guys like who else? Jason Rosario. But I would even probably go with even other 168 pounders like Caleb Plant or David Benavidez. Those fighters are very, very powerful and they could definitely hit. And I think Canelo, he's never really been tested at that level where he's actually been hurt by a guy like Errol Spence, and he has to cling on for survival. And it actually makes him think to actually be more, intelligent for not taking those big, dangerous punches. But I mean, if this fight were to happen, it would be a very interesting fight. But I think Canelo, he would definitely get KO'd if Errol finds that one good punch on him to basically knock him out. But then on top of that, I think that it would be very interesting to see where that fight would land. And I'd say for contract negotiations, Canelo better not put in like a rematch, or he better not put a rehydration clause and try to make up some BS on, I don't know, not getting enough money, or making sure that the fight is on short notice or something. Canelo needs to fight Errol Spence at an equal playing field if this fight were to happen. But I think either way, it's like Errol Spence, he knows what Canelo is up to, and Canelo will try to find a way to cherry pick. But I think either or, Errol Spence would definitely give Canelo a good fight and a good run for his money, as he always should, because Canelo should not be fighting bums and fighting guys where he knows that he could beat them and take advantage of them for his fight, i.e. Sergey Kovalev in his last fight. So either way, I think Errol Spence would give Canelo a fight for his life. And I just say, like I say with any other big fight, just make it happen, man. That's what fans want to see. So, just make it happen. So I think this would be a very interesting fight down the line. And I think that if Errol Spence were to fight Canelo next, maybe in early 2021, when the year starts, maybe in January. Well, I would probably say maybe like February or March or April. That would be a very good fight to see, because Canelo can definitely have a lot more rest and be ready for that type of fight. And I think Errol Spence would definitely be a lot more stronger at middleweight, and he would be a lot more lethal with his punches. So yeah, let's make this fight happen, and let's see what he's about to do. So please let me know what you guys think about a possibility match of Errol Spence Jr. versus Canelo Alvarez, or Saul Canelo Alvarez. And yeah, I will see you guys later. I appreciate you guys for watching this video, and this is Kieran Rodriguez signing out. Thank you and goodbye. See ya. Next video coming out soon.